when you're truly happy and comfortable with who you are as a person and what you bring to the world, to yourself, to the people around you, your confidence becomes completely unshakable. Like, there's nothing that anybody could say about you or your character that is going to fundamentally affect you, because you have figured out who you are at your core, what your values are, the things you stand for, your interests, your hobbies, your quirks, everything that you have that makes you yourself. You have understood that about yourself, and there's nothing that anybody can say that will, knock you off or unstable you, make you become unstable in any way. And I used to be someone who let the opinions of, let their opinions, their words, whatever, their actions really, really deeply affect me to my core. And it became what I truly felt about myself, even though before they had said that, I was sort of unbothered. I didn't even think about those things. But that was really because I honestly didn't know who I was as a person. I didn't know what I stood for. I didn't know the things I cared about, the things that I valued in my life, and the things about myself. But as soon as I did that deep reflecting, that was when I could really understand and build my confidence. I knew who I was. I wasn't really swayed by anything that anybody said about me. And I see a lot of content about confidence building and, just being your best self. And I feel like a lot of it glosses over what self-love and confidence actually is, because self-love is accepting and loving yourself, admiring yourself, and respecting yourself for who you are, not exactly changing anything, not thinking about how you can transform this into this, how, you're just loving yourself for who you are. And again, that includes your quirks. That includes if somebody's ever made fun of the sound of your voice, if somebody's ever made fun of your laugh, anything like that, you have accepted those parts of yourself, and you know that they're just what makes you you. At the end of the day, we're all different. Even our voices are all different. Even if two people sound the same, sound similar, there's a slight whatever it is, I don't know, about their voice, an inflection. I think that's what I'm thinking of. But when you have figured out who you are at your core, like I said, and you've done that deep work to really get to know yourself, and to be just completely comfortable, that is where your confidence will build. And that is where your confidence, it just becomes so unwavering. Nobody can say anything or do anything. And it comes to the point where even if somebody does say something to you, or if they know your confidence is so strong and they try to knock you down, or they try to sort of test you to see if they can really get to you, that's just it's gonna fall right off. I think they say water off a duck's back. I think that's what the saying is. But it's not even gonna bother you. It's not gonna faze you at all, because you are so comfortable at your core with who you are. Even if, I get breakouts all the time on my skin, but I know that is something that is surface level. That is not something about me, and they come and go. Hair comes and goes, your style comes and goes. And also another thing that I see about confidence building content is figuring out what your style is. And I think that can be really important. That can be cool. That can be nice to have. But at the end of the day, if you don't feel confident in yourself inside, then that isn't going to make any difference about how you appear on the outside. Because when you're confident, that light is going to shine. And I think what people also talk about a lot is being magnetic, and being able to draw people in a room, and being able to command a room, and having that power. But that power also comes with there's a negativity to that power. It comes with a lot of judgment. It comes with a lot of people projecting their insecurities onto you, with them not feeling enough. So there is, even though there's power to that, and it is probably cool being magnetic, there's also a lot of eyes on you. And if you can't handle that, if you don't know how to, again, at your foundation, at your core, handle that attention and handle that negativity and that insecurity, and you know how to protect yourself, then that doesn't mean anything. If you don't know how to handle yourself at the foundation, and you don't know what your core is, and if you are at your core so unstable that if somebody says something to you or says something about you, that is going to throw you off, then your foundation isn't stable. Then you don't know yourself and you're not truly confident. So after all that, I think that was a lot more than I wanted to say at first, but it is what it is. I guess I wanted to get all of that out. But I'm Julia. My name is on my mug. This is Tea Time with Julia. And this is really just coming from my healing journey. And just learning a lot about people throughout my life who didn't want me to see the best in myself, who didn't care to see the best in myself, who didn't care to help me up when I was down. And I have learned a lot of this by myself and how to do this on my own and to really create that foundation on my own and to understand who I was, because I felt like a lot of the times, like, I was like, damn, like, why don't people like me? Like, why is it, I feel like I make friends and then they're just gone. Like same with like family and stuff like that. I just felt like it was really just me, and it really has been me, like in isolation, a lot. And I feel like I've been in isolation the past few months, which is where a lot of this advice kind of comes from. And really doing the deep work, like I said, building your confidence comes from deep down. It comes from who you are, how you feel about yourself, and understanding the times that you might not have been your best. You might not have been your nicest. Maybe you were mean to some people. Maybe you made decisions out of your ego. And building your confidence is recognizing that and rectifying that about yourself. Because a lot of the times, like when it comes to things like this and when it comes to just being honest with yourself, I think of it at the aspect of like when I watch horror movies, and I watch a lot of movies about like demons and stuff like that, a lot of possession movies. And, excuse me, one of the things that they will talk about, like, or the demon, the devil, whichever demon it is, they will sort of try to, I want to say like instability, but what is the verb for that? I don't know. They will try to make the priest or whoever's in the room like really unstable, and they will try to get to like their deepest insecurities. So I think about like healing in that way, where if you were ever faced with like even like people, I guess this is going to be a different topic, but demons can be in like people can be like, have like evil in them and stuff. And there are certain people who will try to like pull you down and just try to bring out probably like the best in you. I mean, bring out the worst in you, not bring out the best in you, the complete opposite. And when you're honest with yourself and you know those insecurities, and you know that like you're comfortable with yourself, you know that what they're trying to bring out of you, like those negative emotions that they're trying to bring out of you, that's not going to work on you, because you've rectified the insecurities that you have, the shortcomings that you've had, the mistakes that you've made, sometimes where you haven't been the nicest, where you've acted intentionally to hurt somebody, or even unintentionally. But there have definitely been times where I've intentionally tried to hurt somebody, and I know I have. And it was a lot of my healing was like rectifying that about myself, because when I was even trying to, I would listen to like subliminals, and I would listen to like a lot of confidence boosting stuff, and none of it really stuck with me, and I didn't understand why. And I think like the past year I really tried to understand that, because there was always resistance, and it wasn't until like there was resistance that I felt to those videos and to those people speaking, because I wasn't honest with myself about why I didn't feel like I deserved to be confident, or why I didn't feel like that was for me, why I didn't feel like the financial success, like for the subliminal, whatever it was available to me. Like, there was a lot of healing that I did in order for those to work, because I think they are amazing. Like, whatever, like if you're a public speaker, if you're making YouTube videos, and you have a lot of like content where, you know, you're just trying to help people manifest and be their most confident self. I think those can really, really work. But what I haven't really seen is a lot of people, from a lot of people, I mean, is getting to the root of those insecurities and why we feel that way in the first place. And again, that can be somebody who maybe made fun of you when you were like in second grade, or it was a joke that just like kept going throughout your childhood that you've really associated with your personality, even though that was just somebody making fun of you just for them to laugh. That had nothing to do with you. And that also doesn't reflect on who you are as a person, especially, like I said, when you really, really get to know yourself and you know, I would just say, even write down while I'm talking about this, like what your values are. If you value honesty, integrity, empathy, if you know you're a sensitive person, like I'm a sensitive person, and I was always made, like when I stood up for myself or I stood up for other people, it was like people would just say like, oh my God, like it's a joke. Why are you taking it so seriously? Like, no, like some things aren't a joke, especially when that person is the only person laughing. I don't really consider that a joke. I consider that just being mean. But that's whatever. But I think, figuring out what your values are, what you think. My camera is always just wants to fall down. But getting to know yourself at the core, what you value, what you care about yourself, what you love about yourself. I used to be so insecure with the way that I talked, the way that my voice sounded, and I couldn't even like look at myself when, like, even just recording this out, I couldn't look at myself, or I couldn't like look at it back to like edit anything. Like even when I was like in high school and college, when we did like projects and stuff, like video projects, I couldn't even look at myself. But now, like when I'm looking at myself, I'm like, oh my God, like I can just see it in my eyes, like my confidence, and I just like fall in love with myself again. And like, because I've gotten to that point with myself where whatever flaws I see about myself, I accept. Like if guys, like I said, I've been breaking out on my face, on my chin. I think it's just from what I've been eating, so I got to get better at that. But I've also been kind with myself and accepting that these things I've had, my skin has been worse before, and I've gotten through it, and I've accepted myself. Things healed. And, that is also just an exterior part of me that isn't a part of who I am deep down, in my soul and, at my core of who I am. So, I think getting to the core, the foundation, building a very, very strong foundation for yourself is going to make it so your confidence is truly unshakable. And again, I feel like this isn't something that I really see a lot of content talking about, or if they talk about it, it's sort of like basic, just self-love, love yourself. But what does that actually mean? And if it helps, I would say definitely write things down. Even make a list of things that you love about yourself. Write down a list of your insecurities. And why you feel like they're insecurities. If there was a point in your life where somebody like pointed that out to you. Like I remember when I was younger, family used to make fun of like the shape of my toes. And it wasn't something that I thought was like I wasn't insecure about, but then it kept like coming up over the years, and not like I felt insecure about it, but it was just a reoccurring thought. So that was something that I had to be like, no, there's nothing wrong with me. That's not anything wrong with me. That's just like so stupid to make fun of like a fifth grader about, like just so stupid. So that was something that I had to overcome. So if there's anything like that, that could really help you get through for yourself. Like I said, just write things down. And it can be really difficult and, hard to think about those things. And you could definitely cry. Like I remember a lot through my healing journey at the beginning. It was just very uncomfortable. And also, like, healing isn't for everybody, and you can get to a certain level and feel like that's for you. Not everybody, I think, is called to do the healing, but I feel like if you're here and that's what you really are called to do, then I would definitely, like, say that I say that it's worth it, because basically, like this video, you are going to create such a strong foundation for yourself as a person, that nobody is ever going to be able to tell you anything about yourself that you don't already know. And well, on my channel, if you're new, I write things down in my journal and I reflect, and then I bring them here to you guys. And I'm just making sure that I have sort of written what I wanted to during our little, oh, there goes the camera, during our little self-care talk here. Yep, so that was a bit about the content that I've seen. Yeah, I've really tried to, the affirmations make sense for me now. So I think affirmations are really, really powerful when you are in the mindset to receive them. I think that is really, really key. You need to be able to receive them. And I think doing the deep work and understanding yourself, it also doesn't have to be that deep. You could really just sit down and write what your hobbies are. If you really love crocheting, if you really love soccer, and something that, even if you really loved it as a kid, I would also write those down too. So like the things that you love now, maybe things that you loved as a child, if you really, really think back. And I think there can be also a lot of overlap. And I think I might have also talked about this in another video, or I might be doing it soon. I don't remember, but I think a lot of what we liked as children is what we kind of come back to as adults. And yeah, I'm trying to think. I've been eating not a lot of, but some of the snacks I used to eat as a kid, I've been eating recently. And it just reminds me of those times and just having fun, and where things were a little bit easier, and being a kid was fun, and you could just draw, go outside and all that. Not that you can't do it now, but I mean, like, that was just basically the main focus as a kid, and going to school and hanging out with friends. So those were fun times. And I do some things, you know, like here and there, like playing my Nintendo Switch, playing games like that, Mario, that I used to play. I wish Nintendogs was on the Switch. I'll have to see if it is. But doing stuff like that when you used to really, really enjoy it, I think that is also a part of you. And I think part of building your confidence is understanding and honoring and respecting who, you know, your past versions, who you used to be, and holding space for them, and, you know, extending them the love that maybe you didn't have at that age. Like, I struggled with, you know, just feeling supported at those ages. And now that I am sort of healing, I am able to heal that aspect of me too, those younger versions of myself. And that has also made me feel more, you know, kind of whole. And, you know, things have kind of come full circle, and I feel completely like, you know, I've healed that aspect of me, and now I'm in the present, and I feel more comfortable looking forward to the future, if any of that makes sense. So I think that is also key to building your confidence, you know, just appreciating every aspect of yourself, every version of yourself. You know, a version when you really loved, you were in like the gaming club and you really loved gaming. You know, you really loved video games, and now you don't really love video games as much, but you can respect that version and love that version of yourself that did. I don't know, could be something like that. And I also sort of talked about putting a bandaid over a bullet hole and expecting that to do the trick, you know, for that to heal it. But in order to actually heal it, you need to do the work to pull the bullet hole out, address that wound, and then consistently take care of the wound so that it heals properly. And that is how I feel about just like I said, figuring out your self-confidence and healing from the core, because there's always a deep-rooted reason why we don't think we're worthy of something or someone. And until we fully understand that reasoning, we're going to keep wasting time listening to affirmations and subliminals, when the key to building our confidence just lies within ourselves and just being honest with ourselves at the very forefront. I think sometimes we can try to look for exterior methods of healing, and thinking that when someone says like, this is the fix that you need, this is gonna fix you, even though like I don't believe in fixing, because like it's not like you're broken, you're a person having an experience, and we can figure out how to heal those experiences and move on at any point. I don't think anyone is ever broken. So yeah, and I don't think there's anything ever wrong with who you are, but I think if you're learning to build your confidence, and that is something that you really care about, I think it is really, really key to address that bullet hole, that bullet wound, instead of putting on the bandaid, because the bandaid isn't going to fix it for very long. It might stop it from bleeding, but when you go to address that, I think it's just going to be a mess. So I think you need to get in there, figure out what is stopping you from feeling confident, why you can't feel confident within yourself. Address those feelings, address those insecurities, and pinpoint exactly like, oh, Susie told me this when I was 10 and it's kind of stuck with me my whole life. I think that is why I feel insecure wearing this type of shirt. Like, whatever it is, that's just an example. So we're addressing that insecurity about not feeling comfortable in the shirt, and then figuring out if you want to wear that shirt. And if you want to wear that shirt, go ahead, because you've addressed that insecurity. Susie's not even in your life anymore, and she doesn't matter. And this is your life. You can do whatever you want. If you want to wear that shirt, go right ahead. If you want to cut your hair that way, go right ahead. Because it's your life at the end of the day. And if you are holding yourself back from doing something that you would feel really, really comfortable in, and that you keep sort of coming back to, and I think I talked about this in my last video, like an idea or a dream that you keep coming back to, there's no reason you shouldn't do it, and you shouldn't strive for that. Like I said, Susie doesn't matter. Susie from 5th grade does not matter. We don't even talk to her anymore. Okay? And yeah, let me see what else I have for my notes. I wholeheartedly believe that when you can understand and heal your insecurities, you create a strong foundation of your confidence, because you truly love who you are. Then you can focus on how you want to dress, you style your hair. You can also recite your affirmations about yourself, which will allow you to draw people to you in a room, because I know that's what a lot of people talk about, because that power effortlessly lies within you. It won't matter how you dress if your skin just broke out like mine. All people will see and feel is how magnetic and welcoming your energy is. I think when you are truly magnetic, and when you're truly when people can feel your energy, I feel like they can feel that before they even see you, they even see you walk in the room. I think when it's just that potent, it's not really something, it's something that is hard to describe, but everybody can feel. And I just lost my train of thought, but I think it's when you can figure out, like I said, address those insecurities about yourself and build up your confidence, because you truly feel at your core comfortable and satisfied with yourself. That is when your energy will become magnetic, and people will be drawn to you. Like I said at the beginning, all kinds of people can be drawn to you. It depends on who you give attention to, right? So you can have people giving you dirty looks. People will look at you when you come in the room, but not everybody is happy to see you in the room. People could be shooting you dirty looks. And if you let that shake who you are, then I don't think your confidence is very strong to begin with. If those people are, you're going to let those people really dictate how you feel about yourself, how you react to them, because you don't have to give them any sort of reaction. Everybody's going to react to you. You don't need to well, they're going to respond to you and like react to you. You don't have to respond to them. That's what I want to say. People will always react to you. You don't have to respond to them. And another key point, you won't find yourself competing with anyone because you know your journey and your destiny is your own. Because I've met a lot of people who, you know, talk about confidence, talk about self-love and stuff like that, but will still try to tear other people down, or will bring certain people up and bring others down at the same time. But I feel like when you are truly confident, there is no reason to bring down another person, because you know that, you know, their journey is their own. They're going through their own thing. And, you know, even they might have been at a point where you were at 10 years ago. And we're not going to judge them because we've been there before. And you know that, like, if you were in that position before and it wasn't difficult, you know that one, they can get out of it. They have the ability to get out of it, and that, you know, you were someone who got out of it. So you know that it's possible, if any of that made sense. But I think when you're truly confident there, you don't find a need to tear anybody down or to judge anybody, because you are more so focused on yourself. And making sure that, you know, you feel comfortable and you care about how you treat other people, because you you lead. That is the word. You lead with kindness towards yourself, kindness towards others, and you don't really consider yourself in competition with anybody. Again, you're not comparing yourself, because you know that you have your own destiny, you have your own journey, and your own life path, life purpose, and so don't other people. And, you know, you can, if you don't have anything nice to say, you can just say nothing at all. We kind of learned that in first grade. And when you're truly confident in yourself, you're not going to feel the need to even bring anybody down, judge anybody, because that's not kind. That's not who you are. So, and you also, this is another part I wrote down. You see everything beautiful within you, because anything you admire in anyone else is just a reflection of who you are. And when you're confident, I think you realize that anything that you admire about another person is just something you hold within yourself. Like if you admire somebody else's like laugh, how bubbly they are, whatever, that is just like something that you admire about yourself. Because you can see that love and that beauty in another person. You can see all of the beauty in yourself. And what else do I have? I think I have a little bit. My last part says, my advice for building your confidence isn't about changing, fixing, or transforming anything about yourself. Like, so I've seen so much of that from others, like content creators and stuff. But it's realizing how powerful you are and loving yourself through every mistake, slip up, or downfall. You have the power within you to be your most confident self. You don't need to change anything. You just need to accept yourself for who you are. That is when you can sit with yourself with unshakable confidence. I think when you can sit with yourself at the end of the day in silence by yourself, you don't need to always be surrounded by other people. That is when you know that you're truly confident, when you can just sit in your own silence, sit in your own energy, and really appreciate yourself, like especially at the end of the day, because it's so quiet, or, you know, even in the early morning, in the silences when you can be by yourself and not have the itching to talk to somebody, to go on social media, to see what other people are doing, to consume yourself with other things. Because I think at that point we're sort of distracting ourselves maybe from our own feelings to some extent, if that is what you're always reaching towards. Not like I'm not saying that social media it can be, a distraction to some point, but you know, we also get a lot of information from there. And, you know, like even this is going to be on social media, on YouTube. So you can be learning at some points, but I think also being self-confident is having the self-awareness to know and to sit with yourself when you need to, and to be comfortable doing that. because I think you can find out a lot about yourself, at least I do, when I'm quiet and when I'm alone. And again, like I said, the past few months I've spent a lot of time in isolation by myself and doing a lot of that work. And it wasn't really until I had gone out to an event when I saw like the effects of, well, just like the manifestation of all the work I had been doing, and everybody was just like staring at me. I looked at somebody, they were staring at me. I looked at another person, they were staring and they looked away. It was just wild. It was a wild time. It was a wild day, but it was also like, wow, like that, because that was how I felt about myself. I thought like I was so cool, and like just I had done so much work just to like love myself and to fall in love with myself, and that is how I felt about myself. And I think that is what everybody else saw around me. So it was very validating. It was very cool. It was cool to see in IRL, in 4K. So that was fun. And I think that is just like a testament to how important it is to build your self-confidence and truly being able to sit with yourself, to know yourself, and to be comfortable with yourself just as you are, and doing the deep work to understand your values, your interests, your hobbies, your insecurities, your downfalls, even like getting really, really honest about yourself, about people that you've hurt, even apologizing to them too if you feel called to, if that's somebody that is still around, that's someone that's still in your life, and or just writing them a letter, or talking to them in your mind, and understanding that about yourself. Maybe a time that you didn't really act in your best, as your best self. So being honest, I think that is the very, very depth of the core of healing, being honest. And I think I talk about that a lot. In my past few videos, I have just about how important it is to be honest and authentic with yourself. Because I think that is the key to healing. At least that's what I found the past few months. Like I've said, just being honest with who we are as people and understanding how that makes us who we are. So that was about it on all the notes I had. I think that was all I really wanted to say. I might make another video about confidence, maybe a more, specific with like actual prompts, because I think that might be helpful. Again, I don't see a lot of content creators getting really specific about self-care and what that means. That isn't really just it's not just doing face masks and, sleeping and napping and stuff like that and eating healthy meals. It can get really, really deep, and it can get difficult and uncomfortable. But I think the outcome and, what you get after that is so worth it. And like I said, I had an experience where it was just like, it was mayhem, but in like the best way, about how people were responding to me. So it was cool. It was very, very cool. But I think I'm gonna leave it there. I feel like I wanted to say a couple other things, but I think I'll put that into another video. Let me just go through. Yeah. Yep, that was all I really said. But I think it absolutely is possible to build up true confidence and comfortability within yourself. And I think now I'm just sort of going in circles because I felt like there was something that I wanted to say, but I don't really want to waste the time trying to figure it out. So I think gotten the gist of it. Figure out who you are at your core, the things that you care about, the things that you're insecure about, and the times that you could have been better. And I think writing all of those down and, really working through them, even crying through them, being angry about them, certain times where maybe you allowed people to take the main spot in your life, to be the main character in your life when you're supposed to be the main character. But sometimes we do allow people to control us in our lives because, I don't know, we don't know how else to not do that, honestly. But you can take the control back from anybody trying to dictate how your life should be, or, you know, things that you're capable of. And you can really spin that around onto yourself and build up your self-confidence that way. Yeah, because your self-confidence is all about you. And affirmations can definitely help, I think, through the process after you have done like the healing work. I love reading and listening to affirmations every day, like morning and night. And a lot of gratitude too. I found that is very helpful. Again, gratitude for your past selves, for you getting yourself through those past moments, and being strong enough to get yourself to who you are now, because I think that is super important too. You're here because you have gone through every single difficulty in your life, and you're here because you want to be your most authentic self and your most confident self. So I really hope that was helpful for you. I know this was a bit of a long one, but that was about all the notes that I had. Again, I think I'm going to do one that is more specific with prompts, but I think that's it for now. But it is so worth it. Like your self-confidence is really, really something that you can build. And, you know, when you have that understanding at the core, you can just be so powerful. Like that power truly, truly comes within you. It doesn't matter how you dress, doesn't matter how you style your hair or how much makeup you wear, whatever. I'm not even wearing makeup right now. And that is just part of you. I think I'm wearing mascara because I love my lashes, but that is all within you. And once you're comfortable with that on the outside, it is going to radiate to everybody around you, and you're going to be so magnetic. Everybody's going to want to be around you, but you also have to use discernment to figure out if you even want to be around those people in the first place. Because being magnetic is cool, but sometimes we might not even want to be around them. Sometimes they might like just not align with us, not resonate with us, and that's okay. They don't have to. We could just be, just be honest and say that. And also at the core, that just brought up something too, where there have been times where I didn't really know about myself, and I really allowed anybody into my life that were that used me and took advantage of me energetically to the point where I was drained and I didn't know myself at all. So knowing yourself is basically the key to life, I think, in every aspect, and that confidence is just going to come hand in hand with knowing yourself. So, all right, now that feels like everything. Okay. All right. But I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you had some of your tea with me. I got a little bit of mine left, so I'm going to finish it up. But I will see you guys on the next video. Bye for now.